All right. Well, it is 8:30 and we have a ton of stuff to get through today, hopefully. And welcome to Tech Thursday. We've got a special edition today where hopefully throughout this, I have an idea to kind of crowdsource some resources for your other real broker partners here by being on here. So hopefully you'll be able to stay to the end and be willing to participate in our little crowdsourcing efforts there. So we're going to talk today about Real Signature, specifically how to create templates and packets from that. So, Real Signature has come, even in just the year that I've been with Real, made some giant leaps. There's definitely still some opportunities there. I don't know if anybody had the opportunity to was on Real Connect yesterday. Pritesh did talk about some of the improvements and then some of the challenges. I think the biggest challenge that they're having right now is just getting all of our state forms in there. And that's the idea I have around the crowdsourcing. We can actually all create them and share them all out to each other and not wait for the state to come and get them for us, because that can take some time, clearly, because they had been working on that for quite a while. So who uses Real Signature right now? What are you guys currently using it for? Those who raise their hands.
I use it to
Everything.
create the templates and send out for signature.
Okay, so you're using them, you created your templates and you're using them to send out.
Yeah.
Okay, Mackenzie, you're doing the same thing? And your team, your entire team's using it?
Yes, no. Kelly,
Okay.
Kelly trained me. Hi, Kelly.
Hey, Mackenzie.
Because
Awesome.
I wanted to kill Real Signature. So we have templates in there. We want them to use it. Agents don't want to change. And so if they're using whatever they're doing, but I have the opportunity for them if they choose to use it. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm seeing in the chat there, a lot of people are still using zip forms. I mean, obviously that is available for most of us through our realtor associations that get that. And obviously they get updated forms right from the realtor association. So it is convenient. I think where we can get to with Real Signature is that we can the benefit is that we can connect them to transactions, right? So if it's something that's already out there, they connect them, and does save that little bit of time in, putting them from the file cabinet right into that checklist item. So
yeah, that's what I use it for, all the exclusively. So
yeah,
connected to the transactions. We've got team templates. It's yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Lakeisha, what you got for a question?
So yeah, it was not really a question, but I've used it, Real Signature, just for like a quick touring form, just because I knew how it worked. And it was very simple, but sometimes you don't want to go to something new just because you're used to zip forms.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, completely understand.
Trying to make it work.
But yeah, well, hopefully what you'll learn today, we'll be able to, start moving a little bit to it. And, it's probably not going to be everything right away. Maybe you start like you're already using it for a little bit, you start adding a little bit more. We work together and maybe make these templates, and, and then hopefully the Real is able to connect with the NCAR and get the forms updated immediately for us. So, but until then, this is what we have. So let's dive into templates here today. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share, hopefully, my desktop. And then hopefully we will hop into Real Signature. So if you're not familiar with Real Signature, on your dashboard from Reason, you have here on the left-hand side, you have this little signature that pops you into Real Signature, where on the left-hand side, you will see all of the functionality that you can do in there. What we're going to do today is our template. So if you're not familiar with it, we're going to click on My Templates, and then you have the ability to either drag and drop a PDF or create that template in there. So I am going to go ahead and create a template. If you need to get the forms yourself, the best resource that I like to get them from is right from the ncrealtors.org website. You do have to sign in with your NERDS number. So you have to put your NRDS number in there and you can sign in, and then you have access to all of your forms. You just download them. For today's purposes, I was going to do two different forms, two simple forms on there, just to kind of get you, show you a little bit of flow for how it all can work. So the one that I have chosen to do is going to be the MOG, the mineral oil and gas disclosure. It's a nice simple one, and it has some of the cool functionality that I think that makes these templates work pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create template, and I am going to grab this form from there. So it's form 141.5. And that is one of the first things that I'm going to do once I get into this template. So it's going to upload the template, and then you'll see it there. And I am going to go into this little edit button here. So click on the edit button. The first thing I'm going to do is rename it. So even though I know a lot of the form names, I know a lot of us do not use the form name that way. So the first thing I would do is rename that. You can rename it NC, whatever you want to do. Then the next thing you have to do is who is going to be the people that are going to be signing this. So in this case, we're creating the listing side of this. So we don't need the buyers to sign this directly because they're going to sign the one that gets downloaded from or that you've shared with them with the MLS, hopefully. So we're going to take the buyers off of this one. And then you can also add different signees. So I just have the two sellers on there. And even if there's only one, it'll know that you won't have to take that person off. But I'm going to go ahead and add different signees. This shows all the different people that you can have as a signee on this document. If they're different documents, you're going to have different people that need to sign them. So, for this, these are all of the options that do show up there. So if it's the listing agent and that you need to send that, if it's a referral partner, you can check that person off. So you just go do that, and then you would hit add. In this case, I'm not adding anybody, but that just shows you all the different roles that you can add to these templates. So once you've done that, I'm going to go ahead and hit next. Now you're in your template creator where you can add all of your different signature fields or different fields to the form, to the template. So on the left-hand side, you have a drop down of all of the people that you set up on the last screen. So you have all of the sellers, the buyers, whatever roles that you put in there, as well as the sender. So you, whoever's creating this, is considered that sender. So you can create whatever boxes that you or lines or fields that you need to fill in yourself as the sender. You're going to want to assign those to yourself rather than to the seller in this case. So so again, for the mineral oil and gas, it's a very simple disclosure. There's not a ton on there, but on the left-hand side, just to show you the fields that are available. See, these are all the signature fields. There's 3 different signature formats. You can do date and time, just time, sign date. It actually puts them together for you. You might want to separate them. There's also a bunch of general fields that you can use. And then as you scroll down, you're going to have a bunch of auto-filled fields. These are transactional based from if you're connecting this template to an actual transaction that you have inside of Reason. So these, you have this signing names and fields. Again, these are going to come from the transaction itself, brokerage info, as well as agent info, and then transaction specific info is going to pull in from whatever you've put into the actual transaction. Questions on anything so far?
So if you have all of that information already uploaded into Reason, then you do not have to do anything on the left side here for the additional auto-filled fields, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it should pull all of those in from the transaction. Yes.
So you would only use these things on the left if something's missing.
No, you need to put the field in the template, and then when you create the actual packet for the listing, as an example, it will populate all that, but you still have to pull them in. So like I would pull in property address.
Because we're only doing a template at this point.
Correct. Yeah, we're just doing a template at this point. Yep.
So how do you? Okay, so under where you say transaction right now, do you have to do something to create any of those things, or those are just automatic?
No, these are going to automatically fill from whatever you put into the transaction. Yep, later down the road. Yep. So those are all the fields that are available there. You know, it's not as comprehensive as what might pull in from an MLS if it's connected to zip forms, but you know, it'll get you through, you know, a significant amount of this disclosure information that is, you know, for a form like this. So once you know, kind of have an understanding of what's on the left-hand side, now we're going to start building the logic into the fields. So, you know, with the MOG on the seller side, there's not a ton that they're going to be doing. They're really just doing the check boxes, putting the property address and signing. So we're going to go ahead and do that for them. Well, we're going to create the template. So the first things we need to do is we need to start adding some checkboxes. So I'm going to go grab the checkbox and I'm going to go line by line on this. So I'm going to go, because, you know, if you think of this logic, they need to do one of these three, right? They have to do one of these. We want to make sure that every seller that we send this to can't skip one of these and that they're going to do at least one of these. So I'm going to put checkboxes on all three. And then some of the cool functionality here, now I can say, hey, they need to do at least one of these. So they can't just skip off of it. So we're going to say select, on the right-hand side, you'll see all of these validation options that now pop up. So now we're going to say select at least one. And then you'll see another drop down that says, okay, which one of these fields do they need to do? We need to say, hey, we want them to do one of, and they have to do at least one of these three. So it automatically defaults to the one that you're on. And I'm also going to say, I want checkbox 1 and I want checkbox 2. So I want them to have to do one of these three in order to make this, to be able to complete the form. I'm going to do that same thing with 4 and 5. I'm going to say check at least one of these. And that's going to be 4 and 5. So you see this box it creates, that means it's linking them together and it's saying at least one of these needs to be validated. Or at least one of these needs to be checked off. So I'm going to do the same thing here. That is going to be select each one, at least one, and then boom, boom, boom. And that is going to be 8, 9, 10. And you can rename these if you don't want to get, you know, if you want to make your life a little easier on what, you know, you get, especially if you're brave enough to do the RPodes, there's might be checkbox 375 with all the check boxes or radio buttons on that one. That might be there. So I'm going to do the same thing here. And that is going to be 11 and 12. And then finally, we've got okay, what are we doing there? What's wrong? There we go. And then select at least one, and that is going to be 13 and 14. So now we've got all the check boxes that we need the seller to, and they're all connected. So they're going to have to do at least one of all of these. Any questions on what we did there so far?
So you're gonna have to do the same thing with the RPods, like with 80,000 checkboxes?
In theory, yes. If that's what you need. We need one brave person to get that done.
And this is
And
just for seller 1. So do you have to set this exact same thing up for seller 2?
I would only have one other people do it. You don't need both people to do it. You need both people to sign it, but
for that particular form. Oh,
yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
We
So now,
we tried the RPode. What a mess. That is.
yeah. Oh, it's difficult, but it's one. Oh, we only need one person to do it.
Well, we
I've
did.
got it.
We can all share it.
I'll try to clean ours up and put it in there, but I tell you what, we used it that way, and then the seller filled it out, and things were wrong. I'm like, okay, we gotta clean this up.
Yeah, you got to clean it up. But once we get a clean version of it, we can share it around. And then
Chris, I'll share mine with you because I've
okay.
used it with about 10 people and it's worked. So
Awesome. Yeah.
How is it shared? Is it shared in the system or does it get emailed out and then we have to like upload it into our real signature?
It gets shared in real signature, and then you can then edit it if you wanted to.
It'll be like in the forms library or something like that. Okay.
Yep. All right. So we've got all these check boxes here.
Chris, just real quick, you had said that we could do these boxes as the sender, but now we're saying it has to be one of the sellers. So
well, because we want the seller to fill this, right? We're not filling out the disclosures, right? Correct.
Correct. Okay. I'm still stuck on transactions versus template. So I gotcha.
Yep. So now we're going to go down here. So now because again, this is a disclosure. This is the seller's, disclosure. We're not filling this out for them. We're giving them any advice on it that they need, but we're not filling it out. So that's the top half. That's, done there. Now we're going to now we're going to do the rest of it down here. So now we're going to say who's going to fill this stuff in. So property address, the sender is going to, put that in there. And that is going to scroll down to transaction if we have it. And if you don't have this information yet, so if it's not filled, it's just gonna give you the opportunity to fill that in there. It's only going to autofill if that info is there. So I'm going to pull an address and I'm going to put that under property address. I'm going to clean the box up a little bit so that it fits semi on the line. Now I am going to go up to owner's names, and I am going to go again to auto-filled fields. You see these here. There's a little radio button for that, for seller 1. I go to signee fields. We've got signee name. I'm going to put seller 1. I'm going to go back up. I'm going to do seller 2. And now I've got my 2 signees there. Their names. That's going to fill in from, again, whatever I put into the actual form. And then I am going to have their signatures. And then what you'll notice here with the signature box is when you add them to a template, it automatically adds the signed date right next to it, but it's detachable. So if I want the date over here, I just drag and drop that over. And then I do the same thing for seller 2. And I'm going to put that signature box in there and drag that date over.
Okay,
So
Chris,
again,
sorry.
yes, ma'am.
Backing it up just a little bit.
Mhm.
When you do boxes like you did, like with the choice boxes, so when you, I kind of got a little lost there. So if you, on one line item, right, you have a couple boxes to check and choose
Mhm.
one,
Mhm.
the system makes it like checkbox 2, checkbox 3, how are you plugging it in to select at least one on that line item? So do you know what I'm saying?
So if I go back, let me just think I understand. So we've got checkbox 1, 2, and 3 as an example, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So what's your
Okay.
question with that?
Okay, so it automatically get a note, like it says select at least one, and then it's in there, it says checkbox 1, 2, 3. So once they click one, that's it. The system will say, okay, they picked checkbox 2,
Yep.
for example. Okay.
Yep. And it's going to know that they chose at least one of those. So now it's going to go to the next row.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, and you can actually we'll do a little bit if we have time. I'm going to just sort of do the cooperative compensation form. You can check off, if they check off the percentage, then it makes them fill out the percent line next to it. If they fill out the dollar, then it makes them fill out the dollar, and it makes you as the sender fill that out. So
Oh,
it has some logic built into it too.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
All right, so I believe we have everything on there that we need. We're going to go ahead and hit preview. And now we're going to see, what the form looks like. So the check boxes are pretty good here. You can see at least one required that this showed up here. It's going to pull in the property address if we have it. If not, we can manually put it in there. It's going to say signer name, signer 1, signer 2. And then again, if there is no signer 2, it's not going to add these fields to the form as well for that specific transaction. So once we have that, we're going to go ahead, and this is an important part, we have to hit publish. So now we've got the form that is out there and is published out there and now can be used to do some other stuff. Questions on that? So now there's a couple things you can do from here. You can send this off as a one-off kind of thing. If I wanted to do that, I could just go ahead here and hit send. And I would go in here and say, hey, do I want to add this to a transaction? If you select a transaction here, it will automatically put the signed form into the file cabinet for that transaction. So that's where you can start saving a little bit of time and efficiency rather than having to download the document from zip forms and then upload it to the file cabinet and then attach it to the transaction. If you have a transaction that is connected to, you can check that. Or if you don't, you can just hit skip. So now you're going to say, hey, okay, who are the actual signers here? Let's just say I don't have a seller 2, so I only have a seller 1, and I am going to put test Mick Testerson. And I'm going to put me there, and that person is the seller. Now you also have, your subject line and your message. Sign these documents now. And I'm going to go ahead. Once I have all that set up, I am going to hit next. So now it's asking, it's going to auto-populate your information if you're the sender. Do I need to send this to anybody else? If you have any kind of transaction manager that's working, maybe they need to see that. Or if they're doing the transaction manager is doing the paperwork for you and they want to CC you on it, they can do that. So once we have all that, we're going to hit next. And now, as you could, so this is all because I am the sender right now, right? So the only box that's on here for me to do is this because I didn't have a template. So we're just going to call this 123 Banana Street. And this is in Apex. All right. So that is the only thing that needs to be done on there because the rest of this is going to be seller, in this case, seller filled. So I'm going to go ahead and hit send on that. It's going to take a couple minutes to populate in my email box. Questions so far? While that is out there in the world and waiting for it to come in, I want to show you this other thing that you can do. So you now have a couple different options from here. You can create folders. So if you wanted to create put all of your listing documents together as one, you can create a folder. And I'm going to, so back to now I'm in my templates again, sorry. These are all the templates you created. There's another box here that says folders. And I'm going to hit create folder. And I'm just going to call this listing sample docs. Now, when I go back to my templates, I can choose any of the documents that I want to put in there and then, and then move them to a folder. Move to folder, listing sample docs. Hit move. Now those documents are in that folder. So that's one thing that I can do with them. Another thing that I can do is share them. So if I wanted to share this and let's say, okay, you got to sign this, agree to this, that you have the authorization to do this. I'm going to go ahead and hit an individual and you have to type slowly on this. It doesn't like you very much sometimes. So I would go ahead and send that invite. I would make her an editor, and then she would have access to this document and be able to now create it and make it her template that she can use. And that's what I think that we can do through the power of a group like this is we get people, don't make it crazy. I'm not asking one person to do it all, but if Yvonne takes a document, I take a document, Kelly shares her RPods, that we can, make it so that until NCAR connects with Real and gives us, the opportunity to have updated templates. Now, at least we've created our templates and can crowdsource rather than one person doing it all. So I'm going to go ahead and see. That's how you would share a document with someone. You just want to make sure that they are an editor of it. You don't want to hit this copy link because that will not give them a template. They will not be a templated version. That will be just an actual form. Someone did that with me. They just shared the link. And it was just blank forms that were added to my folders.
Chris,
So
yep. Sorry, if they have the template already done, let's just say there's a template folder with everything already done. Can you share the whole template?
Yes, you can. Yep.
Okay.
The whole folder. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what our team does. We send we have a whole folder packet, like whatever.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so now this document should be here, hopefully. If I go into the right one. So this is what it came over as. This is what it looks like on the client side. You can see this is a message that I put in there. I think you would obviously put a much more professional message, but just to show you where it went. And I'm going to go ahead and hit review. So now I am the client seeing this. In this case, I'm the seller. I need to agree with everything. And now you can see the boxes that it made available, and it's saying at least one of these is required. So as soon as I hit no representation, it now makes it so that is now finished. So now I put no representation, no. So the seller has done everything they need on that. I'm going to go to signature, and now this form is done.
Chris,
yes.
When they do at least one, if they click the wrong one and they want to go back, do they have that ability? Because right now what I saw was they clicked one, now it's done.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
if
don't
they
know.
said yes and they said
I'll
no
test that. I'll test that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'll test it and let you know.
thing.
Yeah. All right. So now, while that is now coming back to me, I do want to just show you kind of the next thing. And this is what Diane was talking about a little bit. So now we've got some templates in this folder. Now, so these are the templates. Now I want to, oh, this is not drafted. So now I want to create a packet. So you can take all of the, if you've got your, 6 or 7 listing documents or whatever you want, now I can create a packet. So now when I go in to send these documents to my seller client, I can create a packet that has all of the forms rather than having to do them all at one, all individually. And now if I go back to my templates, I now have this new option here that says listing sample packet. Now I go to, you'll see the options here that show, if I click this little chevron, the documents that are in there, the individual documents that are in there drop down, or I can just go ahead and send this entire packet. And then that goes through that same process. But what you'll see is you can then include individual documents or take documents out. So if, like, let's just say you put a listing packet together, and in that listing packet is the lead-based paint disclosure, and it's a house built in 2004. You can just take that document out of the packet because you don't need it for that transaction. Does that make sense?
So so how do you do that? You just unclick, because that's my question. Like sometimes you don't need certain things. I've got the packets all filled, but then I'm like, well, I don't need that. You can just how do you do that?
Yeah, so let me just add this to a packet. All right, let me go to this packet here. Oops. Let's go to templates here. Let's just add MOG and RPOs. And it's got to be a published document. So I am looking for those specifically. Now I'm going to create a packet. And I probably will run over 9 o'clock today. I will post a recording of this. If anybody has to leave, I completely understand. I want to respect everybody's time, but I also want to make sure that there's an opportunity for those who want to stay on. So now you see this Tech Thursday packet. It has multiple documents in it, and I am now going to hit send. I'm not going to connect it to a transaction. So now you'll see, all of the documents are now here. And I would just go to add assignee, and let's just see. Because there's a bunch of random forms in here, it's asking for a bunch of different people. But you can take the documents. I did it the other day.
How do you remove the documents if there's like a document in there that you don't want to send?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah,
he's showing, but
you could.
It's on the previous. It's on the previous screen.
Next to the.
It's on the previous. It's on the previous step.
Well, keep going back. You're going to have to X out of this.
Yeah, because that's what I'm wondering.
When you're at the folder, so yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you just delete. Yeah.
Okay, but
that's going to take it out of the. That's going to take it out of the packet, right?
Yeah, that's what
delete it from the whole database. It just deletes it from that packet.
Yeah, I don't want to take it out of the packet altogether because sometime you might need it. There's no way to suppress it or something.
I thought there was. I thought I did it yesterday.
Otherwise, I guess what you're saying is you take it out and then you can always add it back in. I understand once you have it as a template, you can always put it back into a packet. I just thought maybe there's a way to.
I thought there was. I thought I did it yesterday when I was preparing.
I bet it's as you're adding them to what in DocuSign we call the envelope. So if you get ready to send it and it's going to list all the documents in that, then you would be able to take it out at that point. I bet.
I just wanted to make a copy of my folder for a transaction.
You make a copy for each transaction.
Right, and then I can
and then say like no lead-based paint.
Right. So I make
Right.
from the copy and I
Yeah.
name it the address or whatever.
I thought you could do it here. I don't want to get stuck on
Yeah,
that, but
sorry. Sorry, it takes
I'll look
forever.
into that, but I thought you could do it. I just pulled a bunch of random documents that some have buyers, some have sellers, and it was annoying me to have to add all those people.
So if you're working from your template and creating a folder that you're sending to a specific client from your template, like if you're going list sample packet and then you're creating your Tech Thursday packet, that would be where you could select only the things that you want.
Right. Yeah. If you created an individual packet for each. Yeah. So, I mean, I could go here in theory and make a copy. And this is 123 Main Street.
And then you just delete it and then
just take it out of there.
Oh, that's an option.
Because you're renaming it anyway. So you're pulling right from your template, creating a new packet.
Right.
So now you're not disrupting your template.
Yeah. So now I can go in here and take,
then you can name each packet by the address of the property.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a great idea, actually.
That is a great idea.
I don't do it that way.
It's kind of like what
it's
kind of like what I do with the Canva templates. Yes. All right. So now I should see that document back here. So now if I go to my doc signed, that should now be here. And if I had connected this to a transaction, this would be in the filing cabinet automatically. So, you can see, and this is one of I like about the Real Signature program is they look clean. Like this looks like a clean document. The check boxes are, nice and legible. They're, as long as you get the lines in the right spot, the lines look good. It just looks like a clean document. That's one of the things I like about it, as opposed to, I mean, I really have never loved .loop. I understand the ease of it, but I don't love how the boxes look on there sometimes. So, that is my story for everything I think I wanted to go over today as far as templates. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to see or navigate around? So I'll check on that, Yvonne, to see what can be done with that. And then I'll test or mess around a little bit with the packets. I thought there was a way to do that. I thought I did it the other day. But anything else anyone wants to see?
Thank you so much. This was very helpful. Good intro to the signature, because I'd like to transition. I'm using Zip Forms and I have the DocuSign that I paid like $200 for in the fall. So I'm trying to not have that expense next fall. So this will be good. Some time to get used to it and comfortable.
Awesome. Yeah. So what I was proposing on both WorkVivo for anybody who joined from that, as well as our local group here, was that, and I kind of talked about a little bit, that we can crowdsource this. And if someone were to share all of these templates with me, we don't have to all recreate this. So what I have done is I have created this little Google sheet here and given everybody the ability to, I'll just change this here, since I was going to stand on step on that mine for everybody. But if Kelly's got it, I'm going to put Kelly in there as she volunteered for the RPods. But I'm going to share this in the link in the chat here. If you are, we're so inclined to, if we get, 17 people to create 17 documents, it just makes, the work lighter. So if you have a document that you think you would like to create and share it with the group, and if you want to go ahead and put your name onto whatever field you would like to do, or if there's other forms on here. I just started with a simple base. Obviously, there's a couple hundred forms here, but I just started with a bunch of seller documents, buyer documents, and contract documents. Working with real estate agents for sellers and buyers. Those would be a couple of nice, easy ones to get on there. But again, it would just make it easier. And then once everybody shares the documents, I can create packets and then make those packets shareable with anybody who wanted them. So how does that sound?
Sounds awesome.
Amazing. Thank you.